Thank you very much for buying the plushies. Tons of people have already been sending me pictures, and they make me really happy. If you're on Discord, please send me a picture of yours if you have one. Anyways, let's start the video. Wielding magic and being awesome at it is the most fun way to play D&D, at least in my opinion. You can shape reality and lay waste to your enemies with an endless variety of powerful spells, and you can make a lot of memes along the way. As straight classes, full casters are insanely powerful, but they have some clear weaknesses. As optimizers, we look into how to cover these weaknesses the best we can, and multiclassing is one tool to potentially make the casters even stronger. Let's explore what we can do to make spellcasters even more optimized with multiclassing. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where we armor dip. There's two commonly argued points that I'm going to address today. First one is casters are squishy. Second is multiclassing spellcasters is not worth losing spell progression. First, the common assumption among D&D players is that spellcasters are squishy and die very easily. I've touched on this subject many times before, but I've never made a video about it, and it honestly deserves a separate video. Casters are not squishy at all. You can easily make a caster way more sturdier than a martial by multiclassing. I'll explain later. Second is something you'll hear all the time. You've probably heard me say it. It's that straight classing spellcasters is better because if you multiclass, you will delay your spell progression. There's merit to this. Getting the best spells as soon as possible is very good, but there are features out there your class might not provide, and they're extremely powerful with this combination. That makes it worth delaying your spell progression while mitigating the drawbacks.
But Kobold, what if I TPK because I didn't have Hypnotic Pattern yet?
No, that's ridiculous. You're way more likely to TPK because of lack of defenses rather than lack of Hypnotic Pattern. Web is a perfectly fine alternative to Hypnotic Pattern in many cases. Just because you lack the highest level spell doesn't mean you lack the tools to survive. By the end of the video, you'll understand what I mean. Obviously, multiclassing is not a guarantee you'll never TPK, or that you'll always be stronger at every moment in every situation during the campaign. I'll give you an example. If you're playing a one-shot at level 17, you might want to think about covering your weaknesses in another way that's not multiclassing, because obviously you want those 9th level spells. But on the whole, a properly multiclass spellcaster will be quite a bit more powerful than a straight class one. Let's get into how to effectively multiclass full casters. The most important reason to multiclass is to get armor and shield proficiency. If you only have light armor proficiency or no armor proficiency at all, you will want to multiclass into a class that gives you medium or heavy armor and shield proficiency. Mage armor plus 2 dexterity gives you 15 AC, and studded leather armor plus 2 dexterity gives you only 14 AC. With medium or heavy armor and a shield, you'll get 19 or 20 AC. You only need one level in another class to get the armor proficiency. This is a very low investment with a very high payoff. Moderately armored was a good way to get medium armor and shield proficiency if you already had light armor proficiency in 2014. But in 2024, the new version, you don't get the shield proficiency anymore. You really want that shield proficiency for the plus 2 AC, so now you should multiclass instead. The best heavy armor, full plate armor, gives you 18 AC, or 20 AC with a shield. That's one more AC than the best medium armor, which is half plate. It gives you 15 plus a maximum of 2 dexterity, which is 17 AC, or 19 AC with a shield. The choice between heavy armor and medium armor often comes down to a matter of stats and movement speed. You need 15 strength to wear the full plate armor and actually benefit from heavy armor, or suffer a 10-foot movement speed penalty. Some multi-classes can easily get 15 strength. It really depends on which class you multi-class between, and that's because of the multi-class prerequisites. I'm not going to spend too much time on the prerequisites, you know what they are. You can see them here. Anyways, because you want a good spellcasting ability and constitution, you will probably dump dexterity, which is a bit of a drawback. Having decent dexterity helps with initiative, dexterity saving throws, and stealth checks. Having good strength doesn't actually do that much. This is not like an OSR. And also, heavy armor is more expensive than medium armor. Plate armor costs 1,500 gold, while half plate only costs 750 gold. If you choose choose to get the heavy armor proficiency, but not get 15 strength, and still wear heavy armor, you'll suffer the 10-foot movement speed penalty. That usually means you have 20 speed instead of 30. So moving around is going to be a lot more difficult. You can pick a race with a higher movement speed or dwarf to make up for this, but then you'll miss out on powerful features from other races. Human getting an extra feat is the first thing that comes to mind. You also can't use racial flight while wearing heavy armor, but you can use mounts. It won't use your movement speed. You can dash and disengage with your mount without using any of your actions. They're crazy good, especially for casters who stay in the back. They're very good at skirmishing. Be warned though, they don't have a lot of AC or HP, so you might have to buy new ones as you adventure. In general though, getting medium armor proficiency is a lot easier. Even though it's 1 AC less, getting half-plate armor is so much easier and cheaper. You only need 14 dexterity, and dexterity is actually more useful as a stat. Just like these dice, the kobold and gator dice.
The gator dice is for stealth rolls and grappling and doing death rolls.
Yeah, death saving throws.
No, kobold! They will make the melee marshals actually be like apex predators. Just like the mightiest gator.
Oh yeah? The kobold dice are blessed by Tiamat herself, and they will make your spells better, your initiative higher, and your ranged attack stronger. These dice give you pack tactics.
Kobold, you get memed on by the sun.
Ooh, shut your mouth, gator. Anyways, this is our next project after doing the plushies. We want to roll around and be in your games. Right now, we just need followers for our Kickstarter, so if you guys wish to support us directly, this is the perfect way to do it. Link in the description. Back to the video. Another important reason to multiclass is to get access to the shield spell. And if absorb elements and silvery barbs are options too, then I highly recommend going for them as well. Go for shield first, absorb elements, then silvery barbs. That's the order. These 3 spells are god tier spells. You're gonna survive through extremely dangerous encounters by reducing the damage you take and thus increasing the chances of maintaining concentration on your important spells. Shield is especially important because literally everybody attacks you. It comes up every single fight. Combining the shield spell with medium armor and shield proficiency gets you 19 to 24 AC. With absorb elements, you can half the damage of elemental damage like breath weapon. And silvery barbs allows you to dodge crits. Wow, there's more to it than that. I made a video about it a long time ago on release. I go over a lot of things there. Link in the description. If you're playing with 2014 rules, you can get all of these spells by multiclassing just 1 level into Lunar Sorcerer or Wizard. You can also get just the shield spell by multiclassing into Hexblade Warlock. Hexblade and Lunar won't work well in 2024 rules because you need 3 levels to get the subclass. 3 levels is too deep of a multiclass. It's not worth it. You delay your progression too much. But the good news is with 2024, you could just pick the Origin Feat Magic Initiates. You pick Wizard and then you pick Shields as your first level spell. That's a lower opportunity cost than multiclassing. It's insanely caster friendly. Getting 1 level in Wizard is still a viable alternative, especially if you can get absorb elements and silvery barbs, which you can, absolutely. Another reason to multiclass is to get Constitution or Wisdom save proficiency. Constitution saving throws are the most important saves to make, especially if you're a caster. Besides being very commonly forced and can be quite debilitating, they also govern maintaining concentration on your spells, which is insanely important. Usually your best spells you have available require concentration, and you want to keep that up as long as possible. If it's broken, then you have to cast it again, which costs more resources, and it's an action or whatever it is. It's a bit of a setup. An encounter usually lasts 4 rounds, and the 2 first rounds are the most important rounds in the entire game. If you cast a big concentration spell like Hypnotic Pattern and you get 4 guys, you want to keep that concentration as long as possible. They're literally doing nothing. If that concentration is broken, they're free. They can do things to you. So this is very important in optimization. We talk about this all the time. Secure your concentration, secure your concentration, secure your concentration. As for wisdom saving throws, and this applies to everybody really, they're very common and they get really scary the higher level you are. Wisdom saving throws is usually the thing that shuts you down. You don't want to get mind controlled, you don't want to get frightened, you don't want to get incapacitated. You'll end up spending so many turns trying to recover, and you're definitely going to lose your concentration there. There's There's a lot of stories out there of people mind controlling the barbarian and the barbarian like TPKs the party. It's pretty funny. Anyways, wisdom saving throws is probably more important now because at endgame monster initiative gets so insane. Chances are very high they're going to win initiative, and they're going to throw a very debilitating effect on you immediately. That's what I would do if I was your DM. I want you to suffer, dirty power gamer. How dare you phantom steed all over my game.
But Kobold, what about other saving throws? Aren't they also important?
They are important, but they're usually not as bad. Like dexterity saving throws usually just does damage to you. And specifically dexterity saves, usually it can be countered with absorb elements or counterspell. The same thing basically applies to strength as well, though not really, but trust me, it's not as bad. It's usually just pure damage. As for failing intelligence or charisma saving throws, they're very punishing. They're worse than wisdom, in fact, but the good news is they're very rare. Anyways, Bard specifically really wants to multiclass to get Constitution or Wisdom saving throw proficiency, because dexterity and charisma is not that good. It's not that important. Charisma is probably the rarest to see. Maybe it's intelligence, I don't know. From my experience, when you see intelligence, you're gonna see a lot of intelligence later. It's a weird pattern I've noticed personally. As for the other full casters, they start with either Constitution or Wisdom saving throw proficiency already. But really, like, the Constitution saving throw proficiency is way more important than Wisdom. You're gonna make concentration saves all the time. Anyways, if you have Wisdom saving throw proficiency and don't have the Constitution one, you can get a feat later called Resilient Constitution, which is perfectly fine. Warcaster is another option, but that just gives you advantage on concentration saving throws. You can absolutely pick both feats in your progression if you want, because securing your concentration even further is way stronger than progressing in your main stats. I've given some mathematical proof to it, and some of it you can just see with a naked eye. Like Wall of Force does not force a saving throw. Who cares what your stats are? 16 intelligence is very respectable. Even at endgame, I would say. That's actually a really hot take. Anyways, there's also stuff like Spirit Guardians. Half on a save just does so much. If you don't know about the math here, it's gonna blow your mind. Link in the description for that video. As for if you start with Constitution saving throw proficiency, like from Sorcerer, then you definitely want to take either Resilient Wisdom or 2024 Mage Slayer feats at some point in late tier 2. You don't have to pick both. You can if you want. I would pick Warcaster and then one of those two. On top of this armor and saving throw proficiencies, you also get good features. A dip is like a huge package of just a bunch of things. And classes are pretty front loaded with their features. So much in fact that maybe it's worth taking a second level in another class. In 2014, Hexblade is a good example because at level 2 you get Agonizing and Repelling Blast. As for level 1 dips, Peace Cleric is my favorite because of Emboldening Bond, and Divine Soul Sorcerer gets favored by the gods. With 2024 rules, you don't get the subclasses at level 1. So there you're dipping like 1 level in Fighter for defensive fighting style, Second Wind and Weapon Masteries. Even though you're a full caster, you might actually use the Weapon Mastery. Like you might have to use a longbow against a flying dragon, for example. There will be sniping opportunities, although they tend to be very rare. It's something to think about. Another great 1 level dip is Wizard for ritual casting and arcane recovery.
Kobold, you still haven't said why I shouldn't straight class for the highest level spells. Explain yourself.
You're right, Gator. I've been dancing around the topic all video. I just wanted to lay down the groundworks. As all of you realize by now, you can get all of these benefits I laid out by often taking just a single level in another class. Combined with the benefits you get from your main class, it's easy to get medium armor and shield proficiency, the shield spell, constitution or wisdom saving throw proficiency, and a good feature. We call this armor dipping and optimization. And though it's not just for armor, it greatly improves your sturdiness as a caster for a low opportunity cost. Let's address the opportunity cost. By multiclassing, you lose a level of spell progression from your main class. For example, when you're level 5 and you armor dipped at level 1, 1, you're not going to have 3rd level spells yet. That is a drawback, and specifically level 5 is the most painful one. But the drawback is very overblown by most people. Or, I guess I should say the benefits from armor dipping are undervalued. I've already done my best to explain how good armor dipping is. Let's look at the impact of losing a level of spell progression. Not having 3rd level spells at level 5 or 4th level at level 7 or whatever is not as painful as losing out on an extra attack, for example. And it's really not the end of the world. If you pick good spells, you will still have plenty of options to tackle encounters. Just because you delayed your progression a little doesn't mean you don't have good spells anymore. You can still win fights with these lower spells. There are good spells out there that punch way above their spell level. Like Web, Spike Growth, and Suggestion are insanely powerful. I've talked to people who say Web and Spike Growth is stronger than Hypnotic Pattern, and I can totally understand where they're coming from. I don't think that's a crazy claim. I disagree, but I think that argument holds a lot of value. 2nd level spells are incredibly underrated. That's where the caster power spike really happens.
But Kobold, won't you have fewer spells and spell slots?
It depends. If you dipped a martial class at level 1, like a fighter, then yeah, you're gonna have fewer spells and spell slots than a straight caster at the same level. But 2024 fighter at level 1 gives a lot of other stuff in return. Getting the armor proficiencies and the constitution proficiency is worth it. But if you dipped into a full caster like cleric, you don't lose out on the spell slot progression. You could also dip artificer, ranger, or paladin and not lose out on that progression. You have a lot of options, and those level 1 spells you get from the dip can be extremely good. We already talked about the shield spell. Even getting bless, healing word, or goodberry can be great assets. And the best thing is that your spell slot progression from both of these classes combine. So you're still a level 6 caster at level 6, the only thing that's been delayed there is your spell progression, not your spell slot progression. All of that is really amazing. Sure, you might not have the 3rd level spell, but you can upcast a spell to 3rd level, for example. And it doesn't have to be a spell that scales, like, you can upcast web to 3rd level. Some people do that. I think that's completely fine. Anyways, you now know the value of armor dipping and why it's worth losing a little spell progression for it. This is brought up all the time in optimization circles around builds. It's usually the first thing people talk about. Secure your concentration, secure your AC. You don't have to do it in optimization though, but you should think about how you secure your defenses. You guys get the point. End the video. Check out the Kobold and Gator Dice. That's our next project. If you like our content and want to support us even more, this is the perfect way to do it. Right now we just need followers. Anyways, thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.